Alright everyone, we are here with War 5 against Matrix. BG1 has the high ground global, and I will have path 8 in section 1 and path 8 in section 2. I will be bringing Archangel, Mr. Negative, and Quake. Alright, so for this first fight I'm going to use Aarkus. I am going to use an invulnerability boost just in case I end up taking SP3 or dashing back and eating an SP2 during this fight due to the power gain. I'm going to bypass this node and a lot of his abilities just because I'm using Archangel, but also because of the ability accuracy reduction. The only thing I have to look out for is his tenacity. I have to make sure to re-parry when that timer isn't running so that I do land a parry, so that I can parry heavy during this fight. What you'll actually see is me mostly retaliate his SP1 with a heavy. So there we got the re-parry, but we didn't get any bleeds. Another parry, only one bleed, another parry, and now we're up to 3 bleeds. So hopefully no poison. That was a little delayed. I thought maybe I should save it and try to bait SP1. Throws SP1 there, we stack on the poisons, or the bleeds, and finally we get a poison off his SP1. So here we are retaliating his SP1 and building those neuros. Keeping our block open so that hopefully we can bait out his SP1 without him holding it till SP2. Here comes a stun, so I'm going to throw SP1. And still retaliating that SP1 with a heavy. So easy fight. Didn't end up using the invulnerability, but as you're going to see with the next few fights, because Archangel is just so good against anyone who is not bleed or poison immune, or and poison immune, that boost will last for the fight that I wanted it for as well. So Invisible Woman here, again, nothing hard. She is duped, so we have to look out with her being invisible at the start. Now we can start parry heavying. Apparently those purified debuffs from her leaving invisibility cause damage. Not a big deal. This is the last fight with Archangel for me, so we don't have to worry about healing him back up after this fight. And the RNG bleed poison is a lot better here with this fight, but it's also a lot easier. You're not really worried about her power gain or her specials as compared to Aarkus. So we finished those fights under 3 minutes, so we still have the invulnerability boost for this Doom on Power Snack. So I planned on using an invulnerability boost here just because it's the first time taking him here with Mr. Negative, but it lasted. So game plan, we're going to find out if he is unfazed pretty early. I was actually debating if I should build a little more light energy before I figure it out, but I think I decide to evade counter around 4 or 5 light energy. Ended up eating that SP1 while I was trying to dodge, so there goes the invulnerability. So we're going to be very conscious of not pushing him to SP2. Even though I can dodge it, doesn't mean we should risk it. I believe right here I'm going to go ahead and figure out if he's got unfazed. So right when I'm ready to throw SP2, and it didn't trigger unfazed, so SP2 with 13 degen and 2 petrify, which is perfect. It's going to hit him at 50%, so it's going to prevent that backup recovery and just reverse his power gain. He's just melting here. It's fantastic. And we're just letting him die. Okay, so all the degens are gone. So now we're going to build up some dark energy again in case we have to throw another SP2. Maybe don't have to throw it as big. Bait out this SP1. Okay, now we're going to wait out the aura before we drop SP2. And there it is. So, very smooth fight. Not very difficult for Mr. Negative. Alright, so next fight, we're going to Quake and Shake this Cosmic Ghost Rider on Mixmaster. Nothing special here, we just have to make sure not to drop the heavy so that we don't push him to SP1 and end up eating it with a bunch of prowess built up. So we're going to speed it up, nothing special. Have not been quaking much this season, and it's not because of high ground preventing quake, it's more so because of high ground not preventing other options as far as good counters go. So your dooms, me using Mr. Negative, just any heavy hitters like Cosmic Ghost Rider can be used for those large and extra large champs where they couldn't with Protect without having to intercept. So more of us saying, let's take the heavy counter that probably takes a minute instead of having someone quake it for 2 minutes, pretty much. And down Cosmic Ghost Rider goes. I actually forgot when I was talking about Archangel that I am taking this Red Goblin with him. So this is the last Archangel fight. Been a while since I've taken Encroaching Stun with Archangel, but his Neuros do shut down the stun if you have enough. And my Archangel is max Sig, so it's only going to take 3 Neuros. So very heavy is the name of the game. We're going to bait on his SP1 because he is a high ground champ. And I'd hate to take all of his SP2 into the block, or into my block, and end up dealing with all that energy damage. So far we've had enough Neuros, and he's been very, very willing to throw his SP1, so we are sitting pretty so far. I did throw that SP1 into his block, hoping to actually hit him. Oh, it's right here. And luckily he did not retaliate, so. Still going smooth. He is almost down. We're not gonna hit this next timer. And down he goes. All right, so path 8 here. All I'm doing is quaking. Nothing special, especially against this Sinister. He is just a straightforward quake and shake fight. And with them removing redoubled determination on this node, it's not really, power gain's not really an issue here. It wouldn't be against Mr. Sinister, but anyone who's, like, let's say I-Bomb or Immortal Abomination, who has 3 poisons on him, dropping a heavy could push him to a bar of power pretty quick. But that's not the case here, so sped it up. Straight quake and shake. Don't think we take a blocked hit. I don't think we drop a heavy during this fight. And down he goes. Next one's a little more interesting only because Annihilus does start with a buff. So I'm going to start with a weakness debuff, which reduces my attack by 15%. So even though I'm boosted, this is going to take a little bit longer than the previous fight. And while I have this dexterity buff, we are matching for unique buffs, so no one's gaining power from the rich get richer. So as long as we don't take a blocked hit and then trigger his unstoppable, he won't gain a bar of power before I kill him, or at all. But I do drop the heavy once, and what I found was that the concussion shuts down the power gain from the rich get richer. So I didn't have to get that dexterity super quick, but it came quick. And even with this weakness debuff, it only took just shy of 2 minutes. So easy quake path. All right, next up is this Mojo, and it's still somewhat a new fight, so I decided to use an invulnerability boost. Luckily, that boost actually carries over to the next fight. So spoiler alert, this goes quick, or fast enough. Game plan here, parry, but not heavy after the parry in case we activate a prompt, and that Fury timer just gets eaten up by anti-life, and you get hit with a degen. Sure, I can reduce the degen, and sure, I can heal some of it back, but I'd rather just avoid it as much as I can. So we're just parrying here, pushing him to 1 bar of power, trying to get him to his back wall, avoiding prompts when we can. So I'm not going to evade counter here because it would be charging a heavy and activate this prompt. But you're going to see with the next one, special attack, I'm trying to bait out his SB1, so this one's going to be unavoidable. And then I'm not going to worry about building here. I actually didn't even let the evade counter hit before I threw that SB2, so luckily he kept his block down. And you can see he's just melting. I haven't gotten a degen on me yet. He's not power gaining like crazy because we're not taking a lot of blocked hits. We're just playing this nice and safe and slow. And I guess there, if you slow it down, you'll see that it looks like I dexed, but I was still in range after dexting. In any case, if I didn't have that invulnerability, it wouldn't have hurt too bad. So like I said, that boost is actually going to last for this Manthing here on Vigorous Assault. And this Manthing is duped. So things could get interesting when he's below 50% and if I can't evade counter. So I'm going to test in the early 50% if I can evade counter. And I could have taken this with Quake, but since I had enough health with Mr. Negative, I decided to take it with Mr. Negative. So game plan here, as always, parry, build that light energy through the parry and the heavy. And I just decided to build the light energy just super quick, evade counter. So far it doesn't seem like he hasn't phased, or we're just getting lucky. Baiting out this SB1, building light as we do it, building some more light. We're gonna build a lot of light energy here. And we're actually gonna get super lucky with timing and convert and make it an SB2 with 20 dark energy, which is the cap. And he is just gonna melt. You'll see here, so far I've done 2 heavy counters. That's the 3rd heavy evade counters and no one phased. So we don't have to worry about this unblockable. And this would have been the perfect fight, especially after me throwing this SP1, thinking it was gonna knock him out. It didn't. I actually tried to dodge that. That didn't work. I did try to parry here for whatever reason. Of course he's unblockable. And then I did try to evade counter there and I was too slow to activate it. So I got it coming up right here and that damage from the evade counter knocked him out. So it was kind of a silly ending. Could have made it perfect. BG1 didn't die at all, but we matched Matrix BG1 without dying. And New Nation as a whole, we finally hit our goal of trying to be below 3 deaths and only died 2 to their 6. So good win for New Nation. This bumped us up to 2nd place at the moment. And hopefully we can keep the death count as low as we did here. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Follow me on Twitter to keep an eye out for the next one.